Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, when it comes to meditation, one of the important thing that you have to remember, your thoughts are kind of like full of energy. It doesn't matter whatever the thoughts come to you. It's come within you. You cannot categorize this is a bad thought, this is a good thought. It is a thought. So if you able to settle down with that thought itself, rather than projecting or rather than looking something from outside to find any satisfaction, if you allow it to settle down within yourself, and you can gain to calmness. So gaining this calmness is the foundation of your deeper spiritual journey. Because that sometimes the mind, when the mind becomes busy, that busyness become more and more and more powerful when we try to resist it. Not only the busyness, even the stress, anxiety, depression, fear, this all, the very nature is that. The reason is because it not separate from you. It is happening within yourself. So practicing meditation is a kind of like an art. You transform that all thoughts to one energy. So it kind of like, if I get an example from this outside, it's like, as you know, this fruit juicer. Look, that we able to build rockets, and people used to go far away in this universe, and the people live in the space center, no, and we build up vehicles faster than animals. We build the ships and boats fast, can go faster than fish. But when it comes to this juice blender, that there is no any blender. So when you put an apple, there is no any blender that you can find that this whole apple become liquid. That it's kind of like it's that there are always dust, and when it come to the juicer, there are always the fiber going out, and always and the other thing is they have a struggle to keep the vitamin and minerals and fiber with the whatever the juice come out of it. But still there is no any juicer. Then when you put the apple or the any fruits or any vegetable, it completely become liquid. But there is a possibility. And when you eat the fruits or vegetables, that everything nourish your body. So if there is a juicer, that when you put an apple or when you put the vegetables, it's completely become water without wasting anything. Nothing, empty. Even there is no waste. There is nothing going out. When you put something and if it completely become and 100% without wasting any vitamin or minerals or fiber, that kind of a technique is called vipassana. Because all the thoughts that happening in you, without wasting anything out of that thought, if you are able to transform that everything to the wisdom, that is a kind of like a art that you have to practice. So then practicing meditation doesn't mean you throw something from you and you gain something from outside. And that is the very behavior. It's a, psychologically, physically, the very behavior of our body is like that. As energy in our body, the whatever the chemicals that build into this body, that all the chemicals come to protect this body. There is no any chemical in our body happening unless that the whatever the food, whatever we eat, it flush out of the body and the water. So the whatever the chemicals inbuilt in our body, it is not harm for the body. That all the chemicals become harmful when we dismanage, when we not able to guide our thoughts, our behavior. What happening, that chemical start to react in a different way. Otherwise, if you look at the stress, anxiety, fear, depression, this everything has a reason they are to become like that way. Only thing is we dismanage it. We have no knowledge to transform it to the right place. And because of that, what will happen? It is start to react in a different way. So then come to very first thing you have to remember. Come to a point when you sit for meditation, you have everything. You are complete. There is nothing, oh, I need this. I want to be like this. Don't come to that kind of understanding. Just remember that everything is in you. And when you close your eyes, without anybody or without anything this from outside world, unless these four elements, the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness to bring the, the comfort to our body. Otherwise, when you sit in that sitting, you have to come to a point to settle down, you complete. And in that completion, you have to remember to calm down your physical eye. Because as example, so maybe you sitting in front of the computer or the phone or the TV and you close your eyes and time to time, you deeply projecting inside your eye to open and look, open and look. What happening? What is happening there? So like that. Even with the ear and sometimes around your house, and maybe you can hear the sound or maybe other people working or doing some work things and talking, children. So many things can happen. You deeply projecting inside your ear, your consciousness towards that way. In that moment, your sitting not going to be complete. See, it is inner behavior. It is naturally happening, that wonder mind naturally happening. When somebody talk, or even maybe you closing your eyes and you sitting and practice meditation, you hear somebody walking, then suddenly you start to follow that footsteps. So then what will happen? You already disconnect from the moment, because eh, it then it become kind of like a the footstep meditation, because you follow that. It start to take you there. Or maybe the smell come, the smell start to take you there. Or maybe you thinking after meditation, or maybe you went to market and you brought a packet of cookies or cake or donut or biscuits or something. It is there. So now practicing meditation, then deeply, it's natural. It's deeply the desire come after meditation. I'm going to have a tea and I'm going to have this cake or something like that. See, you feel so calm and you feel so relaxed, comfortable. Why? Because that is that already there, then you're going to do it and settle down. So, but still what you have to understand, your mind beyond your body. You have to come to a point to settle down in you. So all the thoughts with your eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness, it need to settle down into you, not to the outside. The very nature, we look something from outside. Always, we look for the satisfaction. Remember, there is nothing in the physical world, in this material world, there is nothing build up something to fulfill your personal desire. There's nothing. Each and everything has its own cause and effect to be there like that way. Even the people, as example, when you look for the happiness through somebody, then you can tell, oh, I love you, so it is your responsibility to make me happy. So, but the thing is, the other person also thinks the same thing. And when it comes to the the group of people, each and every person has a personal desire to find the satisfaction and the happiness from others. So then when you jump to the middle of that group or the person, and if you look the satisfaction from waiting for the satisfaction and the happiness from that person, how that person going to make you happy? It's not going to happen. Why? Because that person itself has its own way to waiting for the satisfaction from outside. There is no person come to this world thinking, oh, I came to this world to satisfy this person. So like that way, there is no person. Each and every person looks something from outside. That is the journey that we go. So when it comes to sitting, because in ordinary life, we cannot do this. It is very difficult. Because why? Because the mechanism, inbuilt mechanism is like that. We came to this world because of that, to find the satisfaction to this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Fulfill the dreams. It's just not the sweet dreams. It's the Cinderella dreams. It's kind of like it's always when we practice meditation. One time, one of our teacher told us it's a kind of like a Robin Hood mindset. Because always involving it something, always involving it something. So then when you're sitting, that's why it is art that you have to develop within yourself, to settle down your eye, settle down your ear, settle down your nose, tongue, body, and settle down your mind, not to jump to whatever the past or the future. So what is happening? When you come to that level, it in the beginning, it's going to be kind of like a turbulence, you know. It's a kind of like it's make you kind of like a distress. So the disease, it's kind of like make you unbalanced. But at the same time, that unbalance is the energy. Remember that. When it comes to our human life, when you have the stress, when you have the fear, when you have the the anxiety, that is the energy. Only thing is we look for comfort, and we look for kind of like we have a mental attitude to look for something rather than transferring this energy to good. So if I give an example from the animals, the deers, if the deers don't get stress, they cannot run. They become paralyzed. So the deers run, and they run more faster because when they get more higher stress. Otherwise, they cannot run. So when it comes to your tranquility state, to build up a very good tranquility state, so whatever the stress and the whatever the anxiety, whatever the depression, whatever the fear in you, once you recognize it and allow it to settle down within your practice rather than looking something from outside, and that is what going to become the energy. Because that recognition, without that recognition is the important. You recognize that how the mind. So as example, you close your eyes, and then you keep thinking about opening your eye and start to look for the screen. So then it becomes, it's become kind of like a stress, anxiety. Why? At the very nature of the anxiety, before something happen, so whatever you project, so that is the very, that if the current of the projection go higher, that is the anxiety. Before something happen, so whatever the mentally you project, and that current when it go higher, that become anxiety. So then before you look into screen in your mind, now you have, oh, I want to look, I want to look, I want to look. When you see that thought, and without opening your eyes, allowing your mind to settle down, it is okay. I just wait a little bit. I'm not going to do this. So whatever happened, whatever it is there, it's okay. Why? Because my practice is important in this very moment. Opening eye, 24/7 I can do at any time. But in this very moment, I have to practice. When you think like that way, remember, because the chemical all come into your body is you. It's not, it's nothing come against you. We believe it like that way. No, 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 no. If I don't do this, my free will going to come and go against me, or kind of like, no. So whatever come to you, it going to listen to you. Why? Because it is the same thought, not different. So when you, if you start to think in this sitting, I just settle down and I just practice meditation. So whatever it is there, it is okay. Let it happen. And after the bell ring, I open my eye. In that very moment, what happening? Your all the anxiety that you build in your mind start to get into your tranquility state. And then what happened? The next day, you feel more relaxed, comfortable. And the third day, you have the more wisdom to see it, and your system start to build up to settle down. And then naturally, little by little, what will happen? The anxiety current become lower in a certain level, that whatever that you decide, in that decision, everything going to be settled down. So you hear a sound and somebody talking, talking, talking. And then it make you kind of like, why these people cannot understand this is my meditation time. So it's like that, you know. And then you it make you kind of like angry. Why? Because you like something else and somebody likes something else. So without the desire, without like, there is no anger. So the anger come as a result of whatever you like, you hold it to that. And then you come to the point to see little bit. In the beginning, in the very first day, this is not going to work, but it worked. That is how it worked. There is no any other way. So in the beginning, you come to a point, you feel angry, you feel so mad, and these people keep talking, talking, talking. And you come to a point to understand you are practicing meditation for you because it is your choice. And you look for the happiness and the calmness to yourself. And maybe talking, that is a meditation for that person. That is the way that person become happy. Maybe somebody talking or playing or watching TV. Remember, if you practice, if you understand this very clearly, anywhere, anytime you can come to your tranquility state without any hindrance. With the understanding, it is not kind of like a robot, or it is kind of not kind of like a machine. With clarity, you can come to the point, and you understanding that person. So we talk about the compassion, loving kindness. So that's mean giving the opportunities for others to become who they are. That is the best gift that you can give to them. That doesn't mean that the in a foolish way you allow others to act. No, it's everybody need a freedom. Everybody need a space. It's called everybody need their elbow room when they sit. No, so then when you come to that, you recognize, oh, how other person enjoying keep talking this. And maybe don't go to thinking, oh, what kind of talk they having, unnecessary, this, no, what is this talking? Don't think like that way. Because you have capacity to think like that. And sometimes he's thinking or she's thinking, oh, look at that person, he's practicing sitting and closing eyes, wasting time. So like that. So because of that, don't try to go and think like that way. Only thing is bring the compassion, loving kindness, and be happy. So whatever that person. So that way, when you bring that happiness, the idea, what happening? The anger cannot be. Have you ever seen in the human, in this human existence, there is no evidence happiness and the anger going to be both together. It cannot happen. That's why whatever you want to do with other people, and mostly you go to do it when they are happy. When they are happy, if you ask, they will do. They will give, you know, and you can deal with them when they are happy. Because when the happiness is there and there is no anger. So then in your heart, not about it, in your heart you seeing how it boiling, because you self-centered and you regarding to you and thinking, and what you like, you cannot gain it because of other people. And then you start to bring the joy to yourself and giving the freedom to them. Oh, they so happy. Let them to be happy like that way. Let them to talk like that way. Let them to behave like that way. Then you will think, Oh, then they will start to keep talking more and more and more. It never going to happen. It never going to happen. That is the beauty of this human mind. We think, oh, if we don't go against something, it will destroy us. That's why that is the behavior of the anger. That's why we go with that. The anger never protect anything in the world. But the love and kindness is the always become final solution. And surrender to situation is the final solution. So then remember, it doesn't matter they will stop talking in the future or not. Don't think about that. But come to a point to giving the freedom. So what will happen? Your anger start to transform to energy. That is the point you have to see. You gain that as the strength to transform it to the strength to settle down. That's where your samadhi going to become more sharp and solid. So the pain the same, any that the discomfort the same. Remember this. Otherwise, there is no way that you going to gain something from outside, and you do that everything the way you allow settle down in your body. And once you come to that, even the silence, that whatever the the moment you come to this settle down, in that very moment there is a wisdom. In the deeper level of when you are able to settle down with the silence, there is a wisdom you going to recognize. That wisdom you will never find in any book. So that is the art you gain through practicing by yourself. So all these animal behaviors, it's a it's a you know they have this inbuilt behavior to transform all their this chemical, whatever happening in them, only to survive themselves. There's nothing else. No, not for development, only to survive. We are the, as human beings, we are the have that nature. And the practicing meditation is the art of transforming that all the energy and strength to uplift you and transform you and develop you to a better position. So that's why in day-to-day life, the whatever, even any single thought, any little thought, remember yourself, it always have some value. So don't think we try to be so good inside us. You cannot do that. We think, oh, this is bad, this is good, I want to be good like this way, I don't we want to be bad like that way. In conventionally we can have a choice like that, but I'm talking deeply when it come to our own mind. Each and every thought has its own nature related to you. So then learn to transform it, So when it comes to that, one time Buddha mentioned there are four things as a kind of like a thinking it is little, small, you cannot neglect it. Four things in the world. So one is fire. Even little bit of fire, you cannot neglect. Why? It can burn the whole California. There is a possibility. So then you have to remember, don't neglect, even it is a little bit of fire. Don't think, oh, it is little, it will, so your thoughts the same. Your thoughts the same. But You cannot, even though it is so danger, look at, without fire, how we can live. And even when in the first time in the human history, our ancestors, when they found the fire, it was a huge jump. It is a, huge change in this human existence. So that is important. So like that, your thoughts, any thoughts, remember, there's, you cannot throw anything. There is something in that. So samadhi is the moment you allow it to settle down rather than resisting it. So then you get into the each and every moment and settle down. And the second one is the snake, cobra. So the snake is, you cannot neglect because of it is little. It doesn't matter, little snake, if it bite, there it has poison. So then, even though it is poison, as you know, there are a lot of poisons we use to cure many diseases, especially when a snake bite. The mostly the snake poison used as medicine to cure that person. So like that in day-to-day life, how much, look even at home, how many things you hold and maintain, and if you read that all the details, you recognize it warn you, it's poison. But that doesn't mean you throw it away. So then you maintain it. So your thoughts the same. Remember that. You cannot neglect it. You cannot throw it away. You have to learn the art to use it and transform it to something good, especially anxiety, stress, depression, the fear. Those are very good source that the currency, spiritual currency, if you able to maintain it to the right path. Because without stress, people cannot develop their life. They that the most successful people, even in conventionally, they have high stress. But the thing is, they know how to use it to the right place. So then always remember yourself and use it for spiritual purpose to calm down. And then you will see each and every day your practice become more and more and better. The third one is the little prince or princess belong to the king family. So the first one, the fire, and the second one, little cobra or the snake, and the third one, even little, you cannot neglect it. The little princess or prince. Why? Because one day that prince or the princess become king or the queen. And look at that tomorrow, there are going to be a new president. And 40 years ago, 50 years ago, look, that person, even the vice president, look how their life. So if the people neglect in that position, how this person, when the person that tomorrow, when they become a new president tomorrow. So like that, that whoever belong to or whoever have as children, you cannot neglect children, any child today in the world. Why? Because we don't know tomorrow what kind of life this child going to gain. Look at the Elon Musk. And how about his childhood time? If somebody neglect or if somebody did something wrong to that child, and this kind of person not going to come to the world. So like that, your child. Don't look it as our mistake is, we, even though we think, we provide everything, we don't look inside the child. We look as a child, that's it. We don't go into in that child, and we don't see the the capacity of that child to grow and to become a better person and go beyond us. So that's why always remember, the when you have children, and don't look them as children, you have to look them as the future. It is totally different. When you look, when you treat them as your child, you keep the authority and you hold. No, you have to do according to me, do this way, do that way. Oh, it's like that. But when you look it as a completely new generation or the new opportunity, or it's a kind of like your tomorrow, it's kind of like your future, it's totally different. Try it. You will see your behavior, you will see how you're going to change. When you think this as my child, you will always, maybe you will abuse the child, telling, do this, do that. I am your father, I am your mother. Do this, do that. I am your high priest. Do it, do that way. But if you start to think, oh, this is my future, then you become more humble, and you become more gentle, and you become more careful. So that's why, as a child, always remember, when you see the children, always remember, it it can happen. That child can become somebody in the future. So then give the opportunities and treat the child the best way that you can. And the fourth one is the little monk. And the Buddha mentioned, don't neglect the little, because the monk is little. And sometimes in temples, where, like, if there are few monks, when the monks become older, that is where the people like to associate that monks. If the new monks, people don't appreciate that much, you know. And but very old monk, when the monk become old, and people respect, and people appreciate, and people listen. But what the Buddha said, never neglect the little monk. Why? Because that monk has ability to attain to enlightenment. So if you neglect the monk, and maybe you make fun out of the monk, and maybe you make jokes, and so like that way, and or maybe you blame to monk, and maybe if that monk attained to enlightenment, you feel so sorry about you. So don't make that mistake. So this all show us the natural behavior, fire and the snake. So the fire is the natural behavior, it representing the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. This all the nature. So then remember always, don't neglect it. It because of a small, little. Look at even the nowadays, that why we need so much this ventilator, and to bring this air to our lungs. Look how valuable this air. We don't care when it is available like this way. But how many people are struggling to breathing? And when this little bit air cannot go into us, the gap cannot fill. Remember, it's going to create a huge pain inside you. So then you have to appreciate when you're breathing moment by, even it is invisible. No, you have to appreciate it day by day, day by day. And don't neglect anything because of it little. And any animal, so the snake is the one animal. Remember, any animal. You look at the bees, that pollinate and help us to keep this all the food circle and the flowers and this nourishing this nature, and this lot of incense that we that insect that we don't see this lot of things around us. So appreciate it. It take you to a moment to transform your thoughts to different level. Another thing is the children. Remember that. Start to look them as your future generation. Start to look them as a kind of like the the seed that have possibility to can nourish the entire universe, like that way. You see, it's little, but you transform your thoughts to different level. And with the monks and you develop the spiritual connection with that also. Whoever practice meditation, whoever do something, and whoever try to learn something in a spiritual way, you appreciate it and you help for them. You share your knowledge, you bringing them to that path. You share and you protect them around it. Why? Because in the future, maybe they're going to go more to a more higher place. So like that way, there is nothing that going to come to this world or our life from outside world. This is the same thing, whatever happening around us. We have to have power to transform it to a better energy. So then you start it with your thoughts, that all the anxiety, depression, fear, this everything, start to bring it to inside you and use it as the source to settle down, to develop your tranquility state. So that way, and you will see there are a lot of energy you gain. Why? Because in the world more than any other time, and the stress and anxiety is the serious killer all over the world. Depression, this everything, killing everybody every day, 24/7. This not this virus. It when the vaccination come, or through the by the time, this will change. But how about the stress, anxiety, and depression? 24/7 in the dreams also it keep killing people. So then, if you practice meditation a little bit, you develop art that whatever that inner chemical, you transform that everything to kind of like your meditation itself become a kind of like your medication. It make you healthy. It make you healthy not by just physically, you mentally, you spiritually also you become healthy. So that's why you have to keep practice this little by little by little, with the right purpose. And at the same time, you have to learn little by little to settle down with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind within you, not looking something from outside. In a certain level, when you keep practice like that way, you come to a point, you able to settle down with your thoughts without depending from anything. That is the tranquility state. So once you come to that, your greed, hatred, and the delusion and all the five hindrances settle down, disappear, and the mind going to become so purified and clear and stronger, sharp. With that sharpness, with that clarity, your perception going to become more clear, and that is where you're going to understand how things come to be as they are. When you have that knowledge, naturally your experience itself become your wisdom. That wisdom itself become your liberation, your transformation, or your nibbana. So with that, I bless upon everyone. With this good practice, may all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cammihi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.